thank you everyone for joining this session. Today, Iosif Itkin, our CEO and co-founder of Exactpro, will discuss what is test strategy is, and we'll delve into regulatory aspect of it, talking about regulatory frameworks for financial services. So please leave comments and questions during the session in the chat, so we will address them during our brief Q&A session in the very end. And yeah, as this is the Zois webinars, and we are very honored to be the first who opened this series of webinars this year. And I would like to say thank you for Zois members and Zois overall for this initiative. And we think that it's very important to standardize of what is called what is called IT quality in IT companies. So this basically improves every aspect of business overall. I would like to recommend everyone who is searching for a way to improve operability, minimize risks and errors within the systems to download the Zoe standard and check it into the details and see it in the details. So Zois, Iosif, can you move forward? So Zois is putting together some efforts to spread the word about the standard and attract more people to become a part of the community. So this is a few photos that you're seeing as a flashback from the recent events Exactpro took part in, Zois Summit in Sao Paulo. It was really fun and interesting, and I wish we could continue such events in the future, for sure. So the Zois standard itself consists of 4 main pillars: people, platforms, processes, and security, which are well described in the standard overall. And luckily at Exactpro, we have also placed under our focus these 4 pillars. And we are convinced that this is the foundation which makes us able to provide honest and relevant information about the state of the system to our clients overall. On the next slide, that's a brief information about us. Exactpro is an independent provider of AI-enabled software testing services for financial organizations, and our clients are exchanges, post-trade platform operators, banks across 20 countries. We provide protocol-based testing of machine engines, market data, market surveillance, clearing, and settlement systems. And yeah, and our headquarters is in the UK, but our team operates in a number of countries across the globe. Further in detail, probably Iosif, you can pick it up from here.
Thank you very much for the introduction. It's really a pleasure to be able to talk about zero outage and software testing today. Financial services, financial market infrastructures, banks, payment infrastructures operate in a very competitive environment. They have to explore and improve and maintain their technology, and at the same time need to comply with a variety of regulatory frameworks and requirements across many different jurisdictions. To remain competitive, they have to constantly invest into their technology and to find edge in fierce competition. One of the ways that they have to do it, they need to constantly, continuously receive relevant information about the state of their technology domain, also known as software testing. Software testing is information service. Its goal is to provide stakeholders with relevant and accurate information about defects present in the system. A software defect is anything that can decrease the value of the software to its stakeholders. Building and operating software without thorough software testing is like devising a military operation without proper intelligence, or treating patients without accurate diagnostics, or participating in electronic trading without access to market data. Uh, and fintech companies have to comply with a wide variety of regulatory documents. In the UK, where Exactpro is headquartered, most of our clients are FCA and Bank of England regulated. Documents from FCA, including senior management arrangements, systems, and controls, do not necessarily refer to software testing, but they put very principle and outcome based requirements related to operational resiliency that any regulated company should follow. In European Union, there's even more legislation. So we spent, well, not just we, the whole industry spent a couple of years preparing to MiFID to implementation across Europe. And recently, a European Union introduced a number of additional frameworks, including DORA, Digital Operation Resilience Act, that put more precise requirements on ICT controls and what organizations need to do in this area. While there is no section in DORA dedicated to software testing, it is expected that financial services firms will continuously explore the technology after every change to maintain operational resilience. European Union also introduces legislation related specifically to AI-enabled systems, because there are requirements for testing and evaluating high-risk AI systems. So while the act does not necessarily uh, have words like software testing, it is implied that for high-risk AI systems, testing is required. Uh, by the
Yeah,
way,
yeah, I think that's important to mention that yeah, the AI is finally under some kind of regulations nowadays. And yes, as a technology vendor supporting FMI's transformation, we hold our clients and ourselves to increasingly high standards. And I would be happy to say that in early 2024, Exactpro received accreditation for STQB, a globally recognized body of software testing certification, for our new AI testing training course curriculum. So over the last year, we have been successfully sharing AI literacy practices within the broader fintech community. So this course helps understand the complexity involved in using the AI toolkit and basically testing AI-based systems. So everyone who needs to have some kind of introduction to AI and actually touch the AI technology and how to operate with that and know the biases and ethics aspects around that, welcome to the course. And on the next slide, there are some materials that our course have, and among those, the course filled with 11 workshops which introduce different machine learning models and provide guidance on how to prepare data for machine learning and how to evaluate that and how to test AI-based solutions, basically. So you can access all of them and more on a separate page if you're interested in any kind of workshops related to AI. And I think that I took much already time around that. Probably we can continue talking about regulations, right?
Sure. So from regulatory union, we move to the country to the north of the Gulf of America, the United States. There are many regulatory documents there that describe requirements for financial services. The ones that we have to deal most in our work is, of course, Reg SCI, as it is related to uh, alternative trading systems and interdealer brokers regulated exchanges. Reg SCI does not contain software testing, but it puts very serious requirements related to resiliency, capacity, and external overview, as well as governance related to such systems. Home to both local and global regulation, Switzerland also has a number of documents that affects both global banking system and also local sector, including operational resilience guidance specifically for banks. While not referring to software testing, these documents do put some requirements that can be interpreted as software testing requirements. So elaborate search across financial markets legislation across the globe identifies a single country, well, at least very prominent destination that does have words software testing in their maybe not legislation or but in regulatory guidance for financial services. Probably everyone knows what this country is. One of my favorite destinations. It is of course Singapore, and Monetary Authority of Singapore uh, incorporated action into technology risk management guidelines that indeed contains words related to software testing. Careful viewer might notice that there is no software testing on the screen, but it is present somewhere else in the document, and this section contains system testing requirements. So it's just not a lot, but it is more than any other guidance available elsewhere. So to provide some high-level summary of the state of financial services regulation in response in relation to software testing. So most of it is principle and outcome based regulation. While not specifically having section on software testing, most of financial regulators expect robust governance, operational resilience, product risk management, quality management, and conformity assessment of how financial services organizations able to maintain operational resiliency and correctness of their software. So regulators universally expect testing practices and approaches to be proportional to criticality and complexity of the systems without specifying exact ways of designing the test strategies or processes related to software testing. When exploring particular uh, policies, it is important that policies, including software testing policies, should be judged not by their intentions, but by their outcomes. And it is the part of most of regulatory frameworks out there. What it means in terms of test strategy, it means that you are responsible as financial services infrastructure. As a bank, you are responsible for defining the software testing strategy that will correspond to good principles and will also produce good outcomes in terms of operational resiliency, compliance, and quality. Now to the test strategy. The word strategy has historical military origin. It is related to leading something that spread out. So in our business, uh, the main thing that spread out is, of course, software. But originally the term was for managing and leading uh, large armies. Later, the term strategy was incorporated into business world as business strategy, and most of interesting literature available out there would be focusing on competitive strategies. So both military and business strategies most of the time focus on competition or confronting uh, other or confronting opponents. In software testing, when developing test strategy, our main opponent is ourselves and unpredictable future and deadlines. So it is necessary to carefully explore literature and research available on the subject out there to see what is applicable to software testing and what's not. Talking about the war and confrontation, one can probably see at least three camps in software testing with their own philosophy that do not necessarily agree uh, between each other, to say the least. I would say is that context-driven testing school and agile testing are more critical than are more critical of ISTQB camp than vice versa. One of the reasons for that is that both agile testing camp and rapid software testing are more coherent and opinionated on how to do the things, while ISTQB is like United Nations. So they're trying to incorporate everything from everyone, and it is committee-driven attempt at consensus uh, process. That is not necessarily a good thing, not necessarily a bad thing. So to strawman the positions of all three camps, uh, ISTQB insists that there is best practice in software testing. Rapid software testing insists that there is no best practice, and the value of any practice depends on context. And agile testing is that there is no software testing. So that's why not everyone agrees on what is software testing, what is test strategy. ITQB until recently, until very recently, until the last edition of ISTQB foundation level syllabus contains section dedicated to test strategy. Now there is no section like that. It was removed from foundation level. Only test plan remains, and it appeared that ISO standard related to test documentation, ISO 29119, also changed recently, and there's no longer section related to organizational test strategy. Now, the test strategy is the part of the test plan. What was previously test organizational test strategy is now called uh, organizational test practices, or the word strategy was removed. Uh, hmm? uh, Personally, I still believe that having section on test strategy was a good thing. I am sad that it was removed from syllabus, and now in the new courses related to foundation level, we no longer have to teach about software test strategy, but it is what it is. Rapid software testing also essentially puts testing strategy as a part of test plan. So rapid software testing thinks about test strategy as the part, as a set of ideas specifically inside the context of particular project. Good test strategy is an important part of a good test plan. There is also very well-known document called heuristic test strategy model that outlines contributing factors into the test strategies. So everyone who is trying to design the test strategy should definitely have a look at this document. On agile testing, so coincidentally, I saw the post 2 days ago. So in agile testing, there is no need for a test strategy. Just get together and discuss how to test every feature. Do not produce any documents. Having said so, of course, in another very relevant book, probably one of the foundations of agile testing by Jenny Gregory and Lisa Crispin. There is a section related to test strategy, and both this paragraph and the one before it outline that it might be a good idea to have a document describing some of the principles that I use to do software testing. Also, the longer the document, the less is probability that somebody will read. So all three camps put now I believe they put test strategy as a part of test plan. Even though I would say that agile testing book still considers that the strategy is a more overarching document. The business community and thinkers on what is strategy provide a distinction, a clear distinction between what is a plan and what is strategy. And looking at this definition, plan is about input and strategy is about outputs. So everyone who put strategy under the plan was wrong. But we are where we are in terms of the current state of thinking. So strategy is about outputs. Inputs is something that we control most of the time. We, as a management team, as a leadership team in organization, we do control input. And that's why we can do strategic planning for the project or organization. Outputs is often something beyond our control. And also outputs is not necessarily here. They are out there in the future. So it is not something that we control. And strategy should be not about inputs, but about outputs. What are outputs in software testing? Many people misunderstand it. So outputs in software testing is not quality or resilience or software itself. Outputs in software testing is information. So software testing can only provide information about something. Software testing can't improve quality. Quality is created by software developers, by product managers. And software testing is information service. The quality of information is judged how accurate, how relevant it is. So the output of software testing is information quality. So whether this information is useful for the stakeholders. And inputs of software testing, as in many other domains, is of course speed and cost. So time and money. It is easier. So time and money, as the management team, we usually control. What we will find when exploring software, these are outputs. It is something that we need to create strategy to be able to better detect and describe defects. Software testing can only prove the presence of defects. It is not able to prove the absence of defects. So if you design test strategy, you should be aware of it. So it is not okay to create strategy for something that is not achievable. Software testing cannot ensure quality. Software testing cannot ensure resilient. Software testing can't guarantee absence of defects. What good software testing can and should do is to provide thorough, detailed, accurate, relevant information about defects that are present in the software and also about the process that was used to find these defects. So uh, whoever receives this information can make informed decisions about their business, about their software. So when you try to put together test strategy, think about outputs. Output of software testing is defect. So what is the strategy definition? The best strategy definition from my point of view is by one of the greatest strategy thinkers, Richard Kamau. So strategy is a mixture of policy and action designed to surmount a high stakes challenge. So strategy is something that is related to a high stakes challenge. So the task is strategical if it is related to some problem that is important. And also strategy is a mixture of both policy and action. So policy can be considered as a document or guidance, and action is what we actually do. So strategy can exist as a set of principles or planning. So this is what we plan to do, but it is also evolving patterns. Strategy as patterns is what we actually do. So strategy is also actions that we take. So this is the best definition of strategy from my point of view. And also Richard Prunov is well known for his fundamental book on good strategy and bad strategy. So what is good strategy and what is bad strategy? So this book is not related to software testing. It is relevant to any human endeavor. And in the book, there are 4 signs of the bad strategy. The first one is fluff. Fluff is using words of no consequences. Words exist to convey meaning and to pass information, but it is also possible to use words to hide information or to mislead. So the hallmark of bad strategy is presence of words that are used to hide something instead of highlighting something. The second largest uh, feature of the bad strategy is failure to face the challenge. It means that when organization is developing a strategy, it is not focusing on the actual challenge, on the actual problems that the strategy has to address. And instead, it focuses on something else. Then there is mistaken goals for strategy. So if you say our strategy is to increase profitability by 20%, or our strategy is to get to 0 defects leaked into production or 0 outages in production, it is not a strategy, it is a goal. And goal is our aspiration target. Goal is not a strategy. Most of bad strategies mistake goals for strategy. Then there are objectives. And another type of bad strategies is that there are bad strategic objectives. These are objectives that are measurable, but when they are achieved, they are not moving us closer to the goals. So, what is fluff? Fluff is using word of no consequences. So you can open test strategy and read something like we are using hybrid agile. We have sections on test automation, on our strategy as AI driven, data driven, customer centric, customer enabled. These are very good words, but most of the time they just convey fluffy feeling about what we are trying to do. They do not deliver any details about what we need to do, and they are not actionable. So they are words of no consequences. And if you're reviewing test strategy, one of the first exercises would be go into the document and try to find all the fluff words and try to explore is the presence of this particular term makes the actual strategy more clear or less clear. Is this word is present to convey some message, or it is present there to work as a simulation of critical thinking? That that's failure to face the challenge. So the first opinion in software testing, failure to face the challenge is uh, when somebody doesn't understand what software testing is. So software testing is a good thing. It can solve some problem, but there are things that software testing can't do. And failure to face the challenge is misunderstanding of what software testing can do. The other very frequent aspect of bad strategies in software testing is failure to face the challenge in organizational context. For example, organization can look at other companies, like at startups, and be inspired how they do the things, or at aviation, one of the most resilient industry out there, or at big tech with their enormous scalability, and then try to figure out that why our strategy should not be like Google. So I participated in a number of meetings in exchanges and other financial services organizations where the leadership team was trying to be more like a startup, more like an innovation, or more like a Facebook or Google. And to a degree, it is a failure to face the challenge. Exchange or payment platform is different. They have different challenges. If you are trying to replicate what is relevant to startup, you're you're failing to face the challenge. What is the difference between goals and objectives? So goals are broad, high-level targets that we are trying to achieve. And goals describe what we want to accomplish. The main problem with bad strategy is that we mistake the goal for strategy. So goal uh, um, having uh, high nines availability of the system is a very good goal, but it is not a strategy. And objectives on the other hand, is concrete, measurable steps. The picture of good strategy is where objectives put us on a road to goals. And feature of the bad strategy is where our objectives are leading us in the wrong direction. I put Dora metrics here not as example of bad objectives. It is just example of some objectives. Whether these objectives lead us to the goals or in the opposite direction depends on your organization and also on the challenges that you faced. This is my favorite examples of misplaced objectives. So one can look at the list and say that these are all very good objectives per se. So having some testing that is 100% automated, easy to maintain, very fast, consistent, and repeatable. No logging of invalid bugs or flaky results, very high speed, very low cost, etc. So this all these objectives can be satisfied by a simple and very coherent strategy. This strategy is zero test. So if we do no testing, we will not get any flaky result. So it is possible to put objectives that not necessarily will lead us to our goals. But if our goal is to have minimal cost and time to market, then zero testing is a coherent strategy that achieves this particular objective. So why there is so much bad strategy? There are three main reasons. The first one is the unwillingness or inability to choose. The second is template style strategy, and the third one is new form. So what is inability or unwillingness to choose? Good strategy is sacrificing something good. So it is easy not to do something bad. Well, not easy, but possible not to do something bad. Good strategy is not to do something good. So if you have a strategy that leads all the flat things that you're trying to simultaneously achieve, it is a hallmark of bad strategy. Good strategy is when you clearly state that something is a good thing and you will not do this good thing because instead you will do something else. So good strategy is always about choice. Bad strategy is about absence of choice. And of course, this idea is present in all strategy related literature. And when you read about it, it absolutely makes sense. You understand, yes, the essence of strategy, as per Michael Porter, is choosing what not to do. But if you think about it from compliance perspective, think about it. If you just put into your strategy document that I will do all these things, then when auditors come, they will have to spend some time exploring all these good things and whether you actually do them or not, and to what degree you are doing them. Now, imagine a strategy document that on the first page contains something. We will not do this good thing. So you already collected evidence against yourself that you decided that your strategy is not to do something. But the very definition of good strategy is not to do something, not to do something good and useful. and it is not something that is easy from regulatory and compliance perspective. Compliance strategy in business world, it is of course vision, mission, goals, etc. And in our software testing world, we of course also have templates. So there are templates available from ISO standard, and it appears that it recently changed. Anyone willing to spend 221 Swiss francs can obtain the updated version of ISO standard. So in the new version of ISO standard, there is no longer organizational test strategy. It was replaced with organizational test practices. But what is currently in organizational test practices is what is actually test strategy. So it makes sense to think about your strategy and to put it in uh, writing. So to outline the principles that you are going to follow. Our webinar timings does not allow enough time to walk through the template, and template is not necessarily a bad thing, but there are also valid criticism and valid benefits of having something template based. And also, it might be a very good idea to write down principles and policies that you're going to follow when facing high stakes challenge. Or strategy template is something that is worth of consideration. And the last one is new thought. New thought is when your strategy is based on warrior mindset. Warrior mindset is that if you think that if you will try harder or if you will think positively about something, that this something will happen. And a lot of test strategies out there are like that. So we will automate harder, we will test better, we will write code more accurately, and we do more things, and then it will achieve the output of our strategy. Positive thinking is a good thing, but it is not a good strategy. Good strategy is always based on scout mindset of knowing what is true and what is right instead of trying to be right. It is very important to know what would be true in the future. It is an aspect of good strategy, but a positive thinking is not a good strategy. The kernel of any good strategy, including software testing, is based on three main pillars. They are diagnosis, so understanding the nature of your challenge. So without understanding the nature of your challenge, without understanding your organization, your context, and what you're trying to achieve, so you have a new bank, you are trying to deploy a new banking system or a new exchange platform within the next 2 years without understanding what are the challenges that you really face as an organization, as your management structure, as what you do not know yet. So without proper identification of the challenge, everything else will not help. Then there needs to be a guiding policy. Guiding policy is how to deal with the challenge. It is what is the overall approach. And guiding policy is something that is intended to make choices, to choose between two good things, to do one thing and not to do another thing. If we do have a good guidance policy, it will allow us to deal with the challenge. And then there need to be a set of coherent actions. So coherent actions are designed to carry out the guiding policy. And these are the steps that needs to be coordinated with each other. So very frequently, we are trying to achieve something difficult, and we all move in different directions where our actions actually hinder our progress instead of creating synergy. So the aspect and important feature of good strategy is a set of coherent action. And let's conclude my presentation for today.